Welcome back to Manga Storian's Berserk series. Today we'll be covering chapters 250 to 252. Now at the end of our last video, Guts had finally reached the port city in search of a boat that could take them to Elfheim. While sitting at the dock, Shirkei meets with Griffith's medium, Sonya, who became rather close friends with her in a short amount of time. When Sonya was getting ready to leave, she warned Shirkei that she and her friends may not want to stay any longer in the city, for something terrible is going to happen. As Guts and his friends try to secure a ship in the port city, Griffith's army continues to fortify themselves and prepare for the oncoming battle. Within the camp, Princess Charlotte cuts into a cake that she just baked for Griffith, wondering when she'll be able to give it to him. Anna tells her to just go ahead and see him. Don't make excuses not to go, but Charlotte blushes, stating that she can't. He's just so busy. After a bit more encouraging, Anna finally convinces Charlotte to deliver her cake, but Charlotte stops the moment that she sees Griffith standing on a hill. She stares and she sees Griffith like a painting or a work of art, something a person isn't supposed to get close to or touch. Just then, she runs up the hill, calling out to Griffith and jumping on him to hug him. She says that she's back, and Griffith then asks how was her time at the sea. Sonya smiles, telling him that she's had a lot of fun and made some really interesting friends. She even had a little adventure. While Mule begins to explain the details, Sonya looks over to see Charlotte standing there, and Charlotte nervously walks up, stating that she's sorry to bother, but she made some cake. Perhaps it'd be okay if he, or everyone had a piece. Sonya pauses for a moment and then grabs a piece and begins to eat it, and after a few moments of chewing, she shouts that it's so delicious. She then takes another piece and hands it to Griffith, and as he eats it, he says that it has a nice aroma to it. It makes his mouth smile all on its own. He never thought about being able to taste something so fine on the battlefield, and Charlotte begins to blush again, telling him that it was nothing. She's glad that he liked it. As Sonya watches Charlotte, Mule pulls her aside, telling her that she needs to show a little more consideration. Griffith has been so busy with the two of them that he rarely has any time to spend time with Charlotte. If she's a woman, or rather a maiden who can sense what's in others' hearts, she would be sympathetic. While Mule goes on, Sonya stuffs a piece of cake in his mouth, telling him fine, she gets it, and later that night she wanders around when she finds Irvine sitting in the campfire all alone. She walks up and asks if she can sit by the fire, and Irvine tells her that she may. And Sonya says that song is nice, but it sounds a bit lonely. Isn't he a bit lonely? Irvine tells her that as a hunter, he's more relaxed when he's alone. Though there are some who don't, he prefers to hunt alone. For days, you can continue to hunt your prey through the wilderness, hiding alone deep in the forest night after night, and you begin to lose any sense of time, and then before you know it, you yourself have become a beast as well. Sonya says that she used to be alone, seeing things that she can't see, hearing sounds that people can't hear, all alone in a completely different world. Irvine continues to play his song, and moments later, Sonya drifts off to sleep. Irvine puts his coat onto Sonya, and she begins to think of a dream that she had that night. Playing on a moonlit forest night, a dream of a kite and an owl. Back in the port town, Shirkei helps Farnese begin her training with magic by mentally focusing on an apple. She explains that the first step to becoming a magic user is to be able to create a thought drawing of an object. Magic is not just about chanting spells or drawing symbols, but it's being able to connect with objects. Farnese looks at the apple, and before she can continue her training, Casca takes it and starts to eat it. Soon the sounds of footsteps can be heard as Ishidoro and Serpico return from their search of securing a boat. Serpico tells everyone that all of the ships from the traders to the individual companies have been commandeered as warships. They were turned away before they could even really ask. From the bed, Guts says that it looks like he's being optimistic about their chance. He thought that it would work out somehow if they just arrived. While everyone begins to try and think of a new method of getting a ship, Farnese speaks up and says that if they could, leave it to her. She reaches for her coat and sword, and on it is the symbol of the Van Dominion house. Later, at the Van Dominion estate, Magnificio shouts to his father, asking that he be recognized for his hard work and dedication to the family business. It is time that he be given more credit in this, and Ferretico stops him, telling him that he has no merit. He's just walking around the path that was created for him. Magnifico then yells to his brothers Giorgio and Politiano that they have been given higher positions, so why must he be left out? Magnifico turns and storms out of the office when a butler walks in announcing that a guest has arrived. A woman wearing men's clothing and someone who looks like her valet. They provided a sword, and they said that her name was Farnese de Van Dominion. She begins to work up the courage to say something, and the moment that she does, Ferretico interrupts her, asking what she's doing there. He has heard of what happened to the Holy Iron Chain. While on patrol, they were destroyed by the Kushan invasion. Now he would like to say that she is guilty of that, but even as their figurehead, she was their leader. Not only did she come back alive, but she went into hiding. Such a situation would have been needed to be reported to the court and undergo judgment. But it would seem that wherever she is, she further stains the name of the Van Dominion house. So until further notice, she is to remain quietly in this mansion. Farnese looks away, telling him yes, and as Ferretico walks away, Farnese turns back, calling to her father, muttering the words, "Friends, a ship." Ferretico looks back for a moment and then, without answering her, walks away. Back up in the balcony, Magnifico watches and listens. Back in the inn, Shirkei tries to give Kasuga a bath, but Kasuga would much rather just splash around in the water. From behind the curtain, Ishidori says, he said that he would help. He offered that for the kindness of his heart, but instead she went and tied him up. Evallaria tells him that he does have a prior record of going into baths when he's not supposed to. Ishidori says that they are allies, gone through many trials in battle, and then he starts rocking himself back and forth to get closer to the curtain. Once close enough, he bites down on the cloth to pull it, but Kasuga jumps up, throwing the curtains over him and runs off. Shirkei quickly chases after, telling her to relax, and Evallaria asks why not just use some magic to calm her down. Shirkei fixes Kasuga's towel, stating that she can't just use magic on people, and then Kasuga grabs Shirkei's towel and rips it off. As Shirkei spins around, she yells at Kasuga and then notices that she fell right onto Guts' bed. After letting out a scream, Shirkei grabs her staff and holds it out ready to cast something, but then tells Guts to please lose the sight of her from his mind. Back in the Van Dominion estate, Farnese takes a bath and thinks to herself that it's been so long since she's been alone. Kasuga has always been with her. Farnese splashes some water on her face, wondering if Kasuga is about to wash her hair. But before she could think anymore, the maids tell Farnese that her clothes are ready and it's time to get dressed. As the maids dress her, Farnese asks where is her dagger and her mail, and one of the maids tell her that they were damaged, so they're going to get rid of it. They can always order a replacement for her. Farnese quickly runs to find the other maid who was going to throw out her belongings and takes back the dagger and the mail that Shirkei had given to her. Magnifico steps out, stating that his sister hasn't changed much. It's no wonder why their father was so shocked to see her. Magnifico then walks Farnese out into the garden to catch up on how she's been. It's been many years since she was sent to the temple. Has she met any of her older brothers? Farnese tells him no, and Magnifico laughs, stating that they are such a close family, but he must say that he's heard about her while she was in the Holy Iron Chain and the rumors that followed. Really, he pities her, because it's not her to blame but their father, raising a precious flower in a greenhouse to protect her from the filth outside. He left her alone without caring, forgetting his duties as a father. Back then, though, she burned down the mansion and father is the one to blame. Even though she is called the devil child of Van Dominion, the sin does not rest upon her. Their father only thinks of them as tools for his business. Those that do not meet his standards are cast aside without emotion. But Magnifico stops himself and asks Farnese, "What are you doing here?" And she explains that she is searching for a ship for her friends. And Magnifico explains that all of the ships are ready to sail into battle. Even father's ships won't be able to be made available, but perhaps there is one ship. Farnese asks how she can get her hands on it, and Magnifico tells her that he needs her to do him a favor, something only his sister can do. And while Magnifico tells Farnese of this favor, Serpico waits and listens. Back in the inn, Ishidori and Puck are making bets on whose crap is able to flip over first. And Shirkei shouts, asking, can they do something and help around here? Shirkei sits Kasuga at the table and tells Ishidori that he could start by helping feed Kasuga. Guts leans up from his bed, stating that he can do it, but Shirkei tells him no, their travels have already taken a toll on him, and he needs to get as much rest as possible. Look, she even made some vegetable soup. It may be a bit bitter, but open up and say ah. And then suddenly there's a slam at the door. Ishidori shouts to Serpico that he's late, and then everyone notices him wearing different clothes. He tells everyone that the ship is ready, and Farnese will not be returning. And there you have it. We're trying to leave these on interesting cliffhangers because no matter what we do, it's going to be a cliffhanger, so here's your cliffhanger. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel Mangastorian to keep up to date on every Friday getting a Berserk episode, and you can follow us on Twitter at Mangastorian. I'll see you guys next time right here.